Another year has come and gone, which means it's time for me to look back on all the new games I played in 2024 and try to decide which ones are my personal favorites. I was pretty busy with life stuff this year, resulting in fewer YouTube uploads than I would have liked, and I wasn't able to play as many new games as I wanted to either. Metaphor ReFantazio, Shadow of the Erdtree, The Plucky Squire, Balatro, Nine Souls, and Silent Hill 2 are just a few of the games I wanted to play but never got around to. But I still played a whole lot of new games, and ranking them all is sort of an end-of-year tradition for me at this point. As always, I played a bunch of older games this year as well. Persona 4 Golden took over my entire January and I loved every minute of it. Side Order ended up being a really fun Splatoon roguelite that was solid but didn't have too much of an impact on me, while the Grand Festival had me rethinking my entire life because of how incredible it was. Crosscode quickly became one of my favorite indie games of all time, I finally beat Ring Fit Adventure after years of playing off and on, and Astral Chain really surprised me with how much I enjoyed its futuristic action combat. Plus it has a stellar soundtrack. But Monster Hunter was the series that absolutely dominated my year. As for the first time I played through World, Iceborne, 3 Ultimate, Stories 2, as much of the Wilds beta as possible, and I'm currently playing through 4 Ultimate, with Generations Ultimate already calling to me. These games are some of my new all-time favorites, and really becoming a Monster Hunter fan was one of the main highlights of the year for me. Now let's get into ranking all the new games I played this year, and fair warning, I feel like my opinions are even stranger than usual this time around. All of these games are great, and I had a pretty tough time putting together this list. Let's get into it. There's a lot to enjoy in Mario & Luigi Brothership, but unfortunately I feel that it also has a few big flaws that keep it from becoming one of my new favorite Mario RPGs. The combat is fantastic, with impressive animations and satisfying timing-based inputs. The soundtrack is great as well, with plenty of songs that I've continued to listen to outside of the game. My problems with Brothership come down to pacing mostly, as there's just way too much dialogue that I personally found uninteresting and somewhat bland. It doesn't help that I had just finished playing through another Mario RPG that has much sharper writing. Of course I don't need S-tier storytelling from a game like this, but I would prefer if it had less talking overall. Mario and Luigi's traversal abilities are fun and lead to some solid puzzles, but the whole sailing mechanic felt pretty bare bones. It's essentially just a basic level select menu but with more weighting, and the later quality of life additions just make it seem even more unnecessary. The backtracking in the last few hours isn't too bad, but it still wore me down a bit and made me eager to get to the end. Of course, I'm still really glad the series made a comeback on the Switch, so please don't let my complaints affect your enjoyment of the game. I wasn't initially sure if I would even get Super Mario Party Jamboree, but I'm glad I ultimately ended up buying it. This game is bursting with content, even offering a short but still enjoyable single-player mode. The minigames are really fun, there's a nice variety of boards, and the character roster is huge, yet still missing Diddy Kong somehow. The whole game has a surprising amount of polish in its presentation that makes it feel like a step up from Superstars, and all the different side modes give it a ton of replayability. The Jamboree buddy system isn't great, but that's one of the few problems with this otherwise really solid party package. It feels like these developers finally have this whole Mario Party thing down, and this is easily the greatest Mario Party game I've played, out of the 2 that I own. It's kind of unfortunate that it took until the last year of the Switch's life to get an original Mario Party game this good, but better late than never, I guess. I'm looking forward to playing this one more, as I still haven't experienced everything this game has to offer. Animal Well is one of those games that requires experimentation and curiosity, leading to some amazing discoveries as you try to survive this threatening world. The more simple moveset and item system felt refreshing compared to a lot of the other games in this genre, and the atmosphere is off the charts. I'll refrain from talking about any specific moments that impressed me, as I would hate to rob them from anyone watching who hasn't played this yet, so just know that the puzzles here will really make you think. While it has a similar gameplay style as games like Outer Wilds or Tunic, it didn't make as large of an impact on me as those other experiences did, probably because of how short it is. I'm sure I missed about 1,000 things that I could go back and discover on a second playthrough, and the fact that only one person created this game is incredibly impressive. In an indie landscape that has become flooded with must-plays, Animal Well manages to be something that really deserves attention and respect, and while it isn't one of my personal all-time favorites, I still thoroughly enjoyed trying to figure out this game's many mysteries. Bakiru is made by Goodfeel, the same developers behind games like Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Woolly World, and unsurprisingly I really enjoyed this game. Technically this game came out in 2023, but it was only localized this year, so I'm counting it. This cartoony and mythological version of Japan is full of creative levels and positive vibes. Almost all of the levels are fun and memorable, with that satisfying loop of grabbing collectibles and taking out enemies that's made me love so many Nintendo games. But this game isn't as polished as your average Nintendo game, leading to some moments that can feel kind of strange and annoying. The combat takes a while to get used to, but eventually ends up being really fun, as there's some combos and special moves that I loved using. Bakiru's transformations are a nice shakeup that keep things interesting, and the traditional sounding music was one of my favorite parts of every level. The hub world displaying all your collectibles makes progression feel tangible, and the colorful art style gives it so much personality despite some rough performance moments. This game is full of amazingly weird moments that made me smile, and I had a blast playing through it. Another Crab's Treasure is basically Splatoon Dark Souls, which as far as I'm concerned is a match made in heaven. Don't let its vibrant visuals fool you though. This game can still be pretty tough and challenging at points. Or I'm just bad at games, that's possible too. I loved exploring this trash-filled ocean where everything wants to kill you, and I thought the unconventional ending was a nice change of pace. Souls games have a unique style of immersion that requires your full attention and ability, and this crab game is no different. It also has those intense highs you get after overcoming a particularly difficult challenge, and slowly mastering the combat was a lot of fun thanks to the many different abilities that each shell comes with. This game feels remarkably well made for how small the dev team behind it is, and you can feel the passion that went into every aspect of making this game the best it can be. It's sort of inspiring that they were able to pull off an idea this ambitious. I binged this game over the course of just a few days, because it hooked me right from the start and kept me playing all the way to the end. Echoes of Wisdom is a great 2D Zelda game, with a really inventive core mechanic that totally changes the way combat and puzzles are approached. It manages to find a somewhat solid middle ground between the freedom of the recent 3D games and the linear structure of the classic 2D games, but it does stumble in a few areas along the way. The story felt a bit too pleasant and friendly at times, with some of the dialogue feeling kind of boring. There are some pretty cool lore bits in there though, and finally playing as Zelda is long overdue. Her abilities make her playstyle feel distinct, but it can be a bit annoying to have to rely on the inconsistent AI of your echoes to attack for you. By the end of the game, you have access to way too many echoes, and I ended up just using 4 or 5 for almost everything, which felt sort of strange. Seeing classic-style dungeons return was great though, and collecting heart pieces again healed a part of my soul. While I have my criticisms, overall I still really enjoyed Echoes of Wisdom, and I'm so glad 2D Zelda games aren't being left behind. After years of hearing how incredible Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is, I finally got to play it for myself thanks to the shiny new Switch remake. And yeah, everyone wasn't lying. It's pretty great. I know this isn't really a new game, but it's new for me, so I'm including it. As previously mentioned, the writing is fantastic in this game, with pretty much every single joke landing for me. Each chapter has such a unique theme, making every section of the game a joy to play through. One moment you'll be trying to get off a deserted tropical island, and then you'll become a detective trying to solve a mystery on a long train ride. All your different companions are great too, and now I can kind of understand where all the complaining about modern Paper Mario is coming from, even if I still think people take it too far most of the time. The soundtrack is terrific as well, and the visuals of the remake are stunning. I do think I suffered a bit from some overhyping with this one, as the expectation that this is one of the all-time greatest Nintendo games weighed on me as I played. But I still think this is the best Mario RPG on the Switch, and I can totally see why it's been praised so much over the years. I did not expect to end up liking Natsumon 20th Century Kid as much as I did. You play as a kid enjoying the last month of his summer vacation in the Japanese countryside, and I actually played this game throughout the month of August, which really connected me to this setting. There's a big open world to explore, bugs to catch, townspeople to talk to, and side quests to complete. This game has a lot of polish issues, as it can feel pretty janky and hard to control at times. The translation is kind of strange at points too, probably because there weren't exact translations for jokes that were tied to the Japanese language. It's somewhat visually simple and runs pretty poorly on Switch. So why in the world do I have it in my top 3? Well, it's because of moments like this. When this game starts working its magic, it's something really special. This is one of those games I played at just the right time, as mindlessly exploring nature looking for rare bugs was exactly what I needed. It brought me back to what childhood summers felt like, with early mornings full of endless possibilities followed by late nights reflecting on the adventures of the day. I didn't even realize how much I had grown attached to this town and these characters until they were passing by outside the window as the truck left on the last day of August. Summer vacation always comes to an end, but the memories of those times will last forever. You'd think I'd be tired of the Persona formula after playing through 4 Golden earlier in the year, but Persona 3 Reload still managed to take over my life with its incredible sense of style and smooth gameplay. This formula is just that good, and this game has possibly my favorite soundtrack and world in the series. I know there are complaints about this game not being faithful to what the original was going for in terms of atmosphere, but I absolutely love whatever it is this remake is doing in terms of visuals. I guess I just really like the color blue. For some reason, the randomly generated dungeon grinding didn't really annoy me, and was honestly kind of enjoyable, and I really resonated with the characters' struggle with death and mortality. Making the most out of each day with the time management system is super satisfying, and the turn-based combat is ridiculously fun. But it's really the music that makes me love this game so much, as there are just so many songs here that I've listened to hundreds of times and still never get tired of. I love how each of the 3 Persona games I've played have such distinct identities in terms of color, themes, and music. And Reload is a new contender for my personal favorite JRPG, and it was one of the most enjoyable experiences of the year for me. Astrobot is a stellar example of just how fun video games can be. It's a sort of pure, straightforward joy that very few games can pull off as well as this little robot manages to. Every single level would be the best one from most other platformers, as the level of creativity and ingenuity on display here rivals the Red Plumber himself. Even small, simple interactions are crafted in a way that makes them a treat to experience, and I quickly 100%ed this game without a second thought. No other game this year made me as happy as Astrobot did. There's so much positive energy in this game, from the amazing soundtrack to the many tributes to PlayStation's long history of great games. This is one of the few PS5 games that truly feels like it couldn't be played on any other console, as it makes really great use of the DualSense controller. Every time I thought this game peaked with a particularly good level or power-up, the very next one would blow me away all over again. It really does remind me of what gaming felt like when I was a kid, which only the truly great games are able to recapture. Astrobot is a huge achievement for Team Asobi, and is my pick for the best game of 2024.
What did you say your name was?
and that's my list of the best games of the year. In terms of Nintendo, this was definitely sort of an in-between year as the next console looms over the horizon, but there were still plenty of great games to play. I wasn't able to play as many unique and different games as I was hoping for, but I blame Monster Hunter for that. Don't tell anyone, but the Wilds beta is my real pick for Game of the Year. But hey, Astrobot was the only game this year to have a Palico in it, so that's close enough. Last year my Game of the Year was an Xbox game, and this year it's a PlayStation game. Who even am I anymore? As always, I want to thank everyone for watching and supporting my videos this year. This channel recently passed 50,000 subscribers, which is crazy. I have a few big projects in the works that I'm looking forward to sharing with you all. I wish I could promise a more consistent upload schedule in 2025, but next year will probably be even busier for me. Of course I'll keep making stuff when I can though, as the Switch 2 waits for no man. I mean, just think of it, by this time next year, I will have played Metroid Prime 4, Mario Kart 9, a new 3D Mario, and will be enjoying the long-awaited sequel to Miiverse.